Welcome back to another episode of Mojo Talk Radio. And I'm very excited today because I have a reoccurring guest. He's now officially reoccurring because this is the second time here with us. And his name is James Cooper. And I met James Cooper through a mutual friend, Christine Bowen. It's funny how everybody just starts meeting up everybody and everyone starts becoming friends. And that's the power of social media. But you meet some great people that bring some powerful wisdom with them. And this is what I see in this man, James. He brings he brings the good word, he brings a word, he brings the wisdom, the knowledge to live everyday lives. And he takes us to those beautiful caviar moments that we all need to instill in every moment of our lives. So I would like to introduce to you James Cooper. James, thank you for joining us here on Mojo Talk Radio.
It is my honor and privilege to be with you again. I felt like we left off, and I've been excited and hopeful to get back and have a great time with you again. Thank you.
You're welcome, James. And James, just give us a moment and share who you are out in the world and how you basically help people on their path and journey.
Absolutely, thanks. I do three things and three things only. One is I'm a man of faith. I'm an ordained pastor. My wife Regina and we have a ministry that helps bring people to truth, and our ministry is called Restoration. In our business lives, we work together as a team, and what we do is I'm a success strategist. Now that sounds like a pretty generic term, and let me put my little tilt on it. What I do is I help you identify who you are, what you are, how you are, and how to do the things that you love to do. And what I do is I help you become that person to make your success non-negotiable. And then the third thing that I do is I love to write. I'm an author. I've written a book called From Crackers to Caviar, A Guide to Personal Development. And I have three other books or projects in the hopper. One is a journal that we're working on right now that we're excited about. The other one is a manuscript we finished on leadership called Lessons in Leadership for everyone from parents to CEOs of large organizations. And finally, I just love to have fun and go out and try to live my life to the fullest.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we had such a great time the last time you were with us. Your recording resonated with so many people, and they said, "Who's that man?" And I told them who that man was. And I said, we have to have him back because truly you did resonate with so many, because sometimes we need to have that power behind the word to get us to move and to shake and to rise up. And as you know me, I'm all about that. So when I find people that can do that with the spoken word, I'm all over it. So thanks, James, for being here again. So let's just dive in on today's topic. And when I wrote this to you, I was trying to remember, why did I write James about this? But I guess at the moment I wrote it, I was energetically in a space, and I thought, you know what, it can't just be me. So what I wrote and told James' viewing audience was that I wanted to talk to him about walking out of the dark. Why I wanted to know about this was because occasionally we find ourselves there. And as people that deal in the world of motivation, inspiration, personal development, the myth is that we're always up and doing and we're always in that high space. And no, if that's where you have to be, that's not me. I'm not always up and I'm not always inspired or motivated. And usually there's a long period of time where the darkness is all over me. So I want to talk to James today because I know who he is and what he does out there. How can we get ourselves to get up and walk out of the darkness?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Well, I'm all ready. So you go.
Well, you know what? I was excited by this because we all have those dark days and those dark moments, and and if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have the dual persona. We have this public face that we put out where life is great and everything's going good, and social media certainly does that. And then there's this other side, this quiet side, this side that we have to live with 24/7 and who that person is. And we absolutely deal with dark moments and dark times. I remember so many of them in my past. And right now, I will tell you that we have run into so many people, including ourselves, who have gone through all these hard places and dark moments. I call them wilderness experiences. I call them cave experiences. But at the end of the day, the first thing you have to know is this too shall pass. Whatever you're dealing with in this present moment, guess what? Just from a second ago, that's now in your past. You already made it through another second of it. And one of the things my dad used to tell me all the time is that if you can take another step forward, you're going to make it. And you have to know that. So when we are stuck, and we get stuck a lot, I mean, we get stuck in some bogged down in a lot of minutia called life. And when these situations happen, you have to know this: sooner or later, and typically sooner than you think, you're going to find a way out. But you have to know that that way is still there, no matter how you feel at that moment, no matter what you think, no matter what you're experiencing, no matter the circumstances. The tide is going to turn. You're going to come out of this, but you have to know that. And I will tell you, it doesn't matter at that moment. It's not very reassuring. It doesn't make you feel great. But what you have to know is this: your feelings lie to you every single day. They do. If feelings were accurate, I could eat chocolate cake and stay slim. But
I had a
you
conversation about that this morning, and I said, no, I think I'll put the chocolate cake down.
exactly. Why? Because chocolate cake makes you feel good for a moment, but then you have to deal with regret. You have to deal with guilt. You have to deal with an expanding possible waistline. You have things to deal with. So what you feel in this moment is going to shift from time to time. So now what do you do? You have to rely on something that Regina calls a faith file.
I'm
And
sorry, say that again?
called a faith file.
Faith file. Okay.
Yep. And what your faith file is this. Here I'm going to go back in my heart, and I'm going to look back at my tough times in the past. And I'm going to know, and I'm going to bring back the experience of getting through that tough time and bring it to my present. And I'm going to project that into my future, and I know it's going to be okay. Because here's the difference between making it and not making it, success and failure, good times and bad times, etc. The unsuccessful look back to their past and they live there again. They live in that pain of that moment and they stay there. And then now they're stuck in their present. They don't know what to do with themselves and they don't see a future.
Yeah.
The successful, those who, again, you feel the same thing, but you look at it from a different filter. So you look at your past and you remember, I made it through this one too. So you remember the lessons of your past. That way you can live in your present circumstance. You know, yeah, I'm not happy, I'm uncomfortable, I'm even possibly sad, but I know this is going to pass quickly, and now you can plan that future and you can get back on track.
Yeah.
So it's all about looking at your situation from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good, James, and thank you for sharing that. I like kudos to Regina for the faith file and
Yeah.
to giving us the information on how to change those filters, because I think we do forget our successes and our wins. And, you know, when you're facing forward all the time, all you can see what is yet to be done.
Yes.
You can't see, there's two things that are happening. One, you either can't see the things that you accomplish, or you're looking back all the time, looking at what didn't work out right. And like, you're right, people get stuck in the fact that they failed, or the fact that it didn't work out, or the fact that someone called them dumb or laughed at them, or whatever the deal is. And they think
Yeah.
that's going to continually happen. And when I refer to the darkness, you know, especially coming from a personal space, it's that place where you can't, you were just wondering if it's ever going to happen. And as entrepreneurs, that's the question we wake up every day with.
Yes.
Who, what, where, when, right?
When. Absolutely. When is it my turn? When is it my time? And you know what I found out? A lot of times we're running on E. We're running on empty at that point. Most of my dark times come when I'm not full. And when I say full, I mean, I have not taken the time to slow down, stop, and get filled again.
Mm.
And so because I'm on E, now all those thoughts start creeping up. All those attacks start coming again. All those things start bogging me down again. And there are plenty of days when the phone doesn't ring and you were expecting that call to close that deal. When you had that meeting and you were so hopeful that meeting was going to work, only to find out that they went in another direction with someone else. Listen, if you think being an entrepreneur is going to be day in and day out nothing but success stories and great days, you have another thing coming. Because what happens is you have your peaks and your valleys, your ups and your downs. But maturity, wisdom, time teaches us that, yeah, that happens. But you know what? For every dry spell, I'm going to have a great time also. I'm going to have a great season of harvest where opportunities are going to just come to me. And I'm going to take those and I'm going to expand on them. And what we want, especially if you have a corporate experience, I spent 25 years in corporate America, led very successful teams nationally and internationally, did a lot of that type of stuff in IT program management and in other facets of my career. And you have this thing called consistency. Every 2 weeks or every week or every month, I know there's a check coming. I know that's going to happen. And I can count on that. Well, it's not exactly true, because I just had a series of friends who are still in corporate America go through a series of layoffs. They went through a series and they didn't have anything to fall back on. And they had to go back out into the job force and find it again. And they were all terrified. And I've worked with some of them making those adjustments and reinventing themselves. And, at the end of the day, what we have to know is this. And I love using if-then statements, if I have put myself in the best position, if I know what I know, and that's key. That's where the doubt comes in, because I have to know what I know. I have to know that I can serve at a high level. I have to know that the information I provide is quality and it's going to bring change to people. And I have to know my value. I have to know that I'm good at being me. And if I can be good at being me and the service I provide, then my time's going to come. You learn so much more in your failure and in your dark places in your dry season than you ever learn in your seasons of success and overwhelming abundance. And, in the military, when I was a dog handler, we had this thing we called a sprint pause, right? And what you did is you were going from place to place and you would sprint to this one spot and then you would stop. And then you would sprint to another spot and then you would stop. Well, your dark place is your pause. It's your place to rest for a moment. The problem is we have become so conditioned to moving forward all the time that we don't understand the value of our dark place and of our dark time. We don't know that's where we learn some of our best lessons. We don't know that's where it arms us for the next level of teaching or whatever service it is you provide to your people. We don't know that it brings us into a greater and closer connection to God than we ever would. We went through 3 years of hell. And in those 3 years of hell, I got to have a better understanding of who I am, who he is, and more importantly, what we mean to each other. And then I could share that with others. So, if you understood that your dark place is really you university, where you get to learn so much more about you and what you're capable of, then you would have a different perspective on it. Now, I'm not going to say that always happens, that you're always happy about it. But believe this, you take those lessons from your struggle, from your dark moments, from those hard times, and you share it out here with those who are going through the similar things, then you get to understand that this stuff is worth more than gold.
Nice. Let's go back a little bit. When you were talking, there was something resonated. You talked about being yourself.
Yes.
Being yourself, and I think, especially in our society now, so dependent on social media, where being ourselves is talked about, but also feared at the same time.
Yes.
And I think that's where a lot of people fall into that trap of feeling less than, because what if I am myself and then it goes silent? And, it's a struggle, because as you're spiraling up to that place of authenticity, it gets quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. It's like, holy moly, why did I listen to them, right?
Absolutely. And so that's true. So, you know, when I first started on the personal development highway, I wanted to be Les Brown. You know,
Yeah.
he's internationally known. He's this, he's that, he's that. But I'm not him, and he's not me. And we have different missions. And although there are some things that I can certainly appreciate about him,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do him. Now, when I did meet him years, man, it must have been 10, 12 years ago, you know, he put his arm around me, called me little brother, and it was so encouraging. It made me feel so great. And then I went back and tried to do me, and, you know, I felt like I sucked. I was like, oh, this isn't Les? Well, no. Well, here's a news flash. Les isn't Les. You know, he is continually evolving and changing and growing. And, you know, same thing with Tony Robbins and T.D. Jakes and Oprah Winfrey and, you know, pick any name that you want.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know, you know, before I can go serve you, I have to get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to know who I am, what I stand for, what things are important to me. What is it that I believe I can provide value to, and how? And when am I supposed to do this? And who am I supposed to do it for? You know, everyone talks about, right? For instance, we were just having this conversation about, you know your avatar, right? That's the hot buzz right now. Know who you're supposed to serve. Well, how can you know who you're supposed to serve if you don't know who you are?
See, that's a very good question because I'm always with, my big book here and hand writing that question out. What is it I'm up to and who am I up to it with? And I have
Yes,
to tell you, every time I go back and look at those notes, it seems to always be shifting
yes,
because I'm shifting.
yes, yes. And that can be for a person of structure and logic very infuriating, right? So, but when I look back over my notes from messages I was delivering 6 years ago to where I am today, it's different.
It's different.
But guess what? The people you serve are different too now.
Yeah.
You know, they're growing, they're evolving, they're changing. No one stays the same. I
Yeah.
look at pictures of me from 5 years ago, and you know, I've changed a little bit. My beard has gotten a little grayer. I've gained a little wisdom. I've been through some stuff,
Yeah.
and you take those lessons and you use them today. If I was teaching the same message, the same information I was teaching 6, 7 years ago, it wouldn't resonate with today.
No.
You know, heck, 2010, we were dealing with coming out of a worldwide financial crisis, and everyone's talking about, you know, what do you do to survive today, right? So if I was sending out a message, what do you do to survive today? People are going, what are you talking about? I'm doing just fine today.
Yeah.
You know, my problem isn't that I'm not making money. My problem is I don't know who I want to be. Oh, wait, I can resonate with that.
Yeah.
And so my message has to evolve as I evolve. And I have to know that as I evolve, my audience evolves. And that's okay.
So here's another place where people get caught up. Okay, so now they discovered who they are in this moment in time, and then the
Right.
fear sets in about, now what am I supposed to do with that? Because if I actually go there in my language and my branding and everything, what's going to happen to me? How do I be all of that as the public is watching me do it? And I think that's where people trip themselves up. And I had to go through it, so I take other people through that, but it's a scary place to be. And I think this is where the darkness comes in because that's where
Yeah.
people just want to run home and hide.
So let's talk about the dark place, then let's answer that question. So the dark place is you're surrounded by three people. And I'm going to name them: fear, right? Doubt, and failure.
Mm.
You know, those are our friends in that dark place. And they constantly talk to us all the time. Fear, doubt, and failure, right? And here's what we don't know. This is what we don't know about those friends in those dark places. Their job is actually to strengthen me. But I don't know that because I feel like I'm being beat down. But it's the same thing as when you're working out, lifting weights. When you're lifting weights, when you're doing that resistance training, what you're doing is you're tearing down the muscle so that the muscle can be rebuilt so that the next time it gets assaulted by weights again, it gets stronger. So fear, doubt, and failure are there to make me better. But I don't like it. I don't know. You know, people go, ooh, I'd love to go to the gym. They didn't start that way. The first time, oh my goodness. You know, I have a good friend from the Air Force, Dave Kales. Dave Dave took me when I was a scrawny 155-pound guy to the gym for the first time, and I lifted weights with him, and I couldn't go in the shower, and I couldn't raise my hands to wash my hair that I had back then. And, and I thought, I'm never going to the gym again. But the next day he called and said, you coming? I said, sure, why not? And I kept going, and it became a 30-year love affair of learning how to work out and loving it. But no one loves it when you first start. No one loves the pain.
It's a
no
hard, hot mess, isn't it?
It is. And that's what the dark place does for us spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. It's the same thing. It's your proving ground, your training ground, and no one wants to go through it. So now, how do you fix that? You fix your attitude. You realize, yea, though I go through the valley of the shadow of death,
Yeah.
I fear no evil because you're with me. You're with me. So I have to know that this is for my good. This is important for me to go through. I need to go through it now so that I can come out on the other side even better, stronger, and more convinced that I can bring that value and I can go out on that stage, or I can do this podcast, I can do that webinar, whatever it is, the medium is, to touch lives. I have to know that, though. And the only way you get to know that is by being tested and tried. And you don't get tested and tried on a stage. You don't get tested and tried now. You get tested and tried in those quiet times when you go, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this one more day because because no one hears me. And that fear and that doubt, it just keeps talking to you constantly. No one hears you. No one likes what you have to say.
It's so interesting that you brought that up. I had a early morning conversation with somebody back east about one person caring.
Yes.
And the power of that one person caring so much, they keep consistently coming back, letting you know that you're not spitting in the wind, that you are there to help one person. And that one person then turns into 2, then into 4, then into 8, then into 16, and on it goes. But it starts with the one. And I think the fallacy of what we see on social media is that you need, when you first step out, you need to have your 100,000, right?
Right. That's so untrue. I mean, all you need is one. What got this book written was I needed one. I needed
Hold
one
it up
person.
a little higher, James. Let me see the whole thing. Okay. Oh, the caviar crackers. All right.
Yep. I needed just one person. I needed one person like this. And it wasn't even written yet all the way. It was just a manuscript, and I sent it over. I sent over one chapter, and then my friend said, can you send over the rest? And I said, okay, I'll send it. And I sent over the rest. And she came back with an email the next morning, said, I stayed up all night reading your book. And it inspired me so much. Thank you. That's that one I needed. I needed one person to know it helped. Yeah. And then I could move forward.
It passed the litmus test, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And your stuff, listen, failure is a part of success. The problem is we have been conditioned and taught that you're not supposed to fail, but you're supposed to. There were parts of that I had to change. I had to evolve. I had to fix, because I want to make sure you touch your people. And once you get to know yourself, then you know how you can serve your people. Now you can have real conversations, heart to heart with people, and you can say, here's what you're telling me you're going through. And that's the other thing. You don't work in a vacuum. I don't stay down here in my bat cave and put together the perfect program to change you and to help you achieve the things that you want in your life without ever talking to you. Yeah. That you don't. I've been married. We are blessed. This October will be 22 years.
Nice.
And one of the things I learned early on in my 22 years is not to buy clothes for my wife.
Ah! Yeah. Smart man.
I worked in retail time. I bought her some dresses and some different things, and I brought them home. And I said, here you go, baby. And she looked at me and was like, And no man wants it. I was like, what's wrong? She said, well, and she was trying to be nice. It was year 1, year 2 of our marriage. Well, that doesn't really, work here. That doesn't flatter me. I started learning. And I said, okay, tell me what you like. And so we started talking about it. And then I started realizing I need to shift my focus. Here's what I thought that she wanted, but I need to find out what they want. So you should have a relationship with your people, and your people will tell you what they want. And when you built that relationship and that trust, then when you provide it to them, they're ready for it and they're looking for it and they want more of it. But if you don't build that relationship, if you just come out and call yourself the authority in widgets, whatever those widgets are, no one's going to want to hear from you because you haven't built that relationship. And that's what, I was blessed to watch, to go out and start, when you invited me and I joined Mojo Maker, I go out and I got to know you better. I started looking at the things that you were posting. It was my caviar moments that brought us to this. You said, who is this person? And why does he put those out every day? Mm-hmm. Right? It's an opportunity to get to know people and people to get to know you. They have to experience you before they'll feel you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And having those similar experiences, like one of the things that I see myself doing sometimes is putting out some actual relatable moments that happen to me, even if I might feel a kind of way about talking about it. I know that somebody in the crowd might have fallen down like that too, or have that moment of doubt or fear or whatever. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you only really should put some, the nice things on Facebook. And I'm thinking, that's okay. But you know what? It's not always nice out there. I don't mean come and hang up all your dirty laundry for people to see and on. Right. But every now and then, as a leader, taking a leadership position, let the tribe know that me too, so I understand you.
Yes. Look, you can't be so successful that you're unreachable, right? If all you put out is everything that's great, you never have a moment of doubt, you never have a moment of struggle, you never have a moment of self-reflection, then you don't become real to people.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love about this current time that we're in. Yes, it's a microwave generation. They want it fast, they want it now, but they want real. And if you're not bringing real to them, they don't want to hear it.
No.
So, the polish that we learned in the 80s back in the day where, the suit had to be right, had the right name on the inside of it, Armani, whatever. Yeah. And, you had to present this image.
Yeah.
And this image had to be perfect. Yeah. And if it wasn't perfect, then you weren't going to make it. Those days are gone.
That's right.
People, raw truth. They want to know that, hey, I went and I tried this and it blew up in my face. And I thought, and they want to know this. Okay, so how'd you come back from that? How'd you come back from that?
And that's what I want to know. I want to know, forget all the fancy stuff and terminology. Tell me how to climb out of the pit.
Right.
Tell me how not to roll into the pit. Tell me how to look out for a pit. Tell me how to stop being a pit dweller. And, all of these things educate me on pit living or pit-free living or whatever you want to do.
You know what? All right, we're going to do one on life in the pit because there was so much that just went through me right now when we were talking about that. Because here's the key. You don't take yourself out of the pit. Someone shows you the way out of the pit.
Yeah.
And the pit is the perfect training ground for your foundation. It's your foundational instruction place where you learn how to be great. You learn how to be great long before the world discovers you're great. And you have to learn that in those pit experiences. So stumbling into the pit is probably one of the best things that ever happened to us, but no one likes it. But it develops your attitude. It develops humility. It develops character. It develops intensity, strength, fortitude, desire. All these things are built in a pit. And when you come out of that pit, you are on fire and you are ready to blow some stuff up. But you can't blow that stuff up if you're out just living that life every day.
Yeah. Party.
That's how it works. So, your GPS, God's positioning system for you, is going to position you into a pit. You need pit stops. I'm going to borrow one from my NASCAR buddies. You got to hit that pit stop.
Yeah,
you need to pull in.
Or a wheel's going to blow up. Yeah.
or the wheel's going to roll off. So you have to pull in, stop, get that what you need. Sometimes you need an overhaul. Sometimes you need a retrofit. Sometimes you need a refresh. Sometimes you need a paint job. Sometimes you need just to be still for a moment and idle.
And find your bearings, which way you go on this track. Yeah.
Yeah, before you jump back out into the middle of this fight, sometimes you've got to go back to that MASH unit and just rest for a while.
Wow.
and then you can run out again.
Wow.
Yeah,
So to clean it up nicely with the darkness, to talk about walking out of the darkness, it
yeah,
really is not a place to fear and to condemn ourselves for being there. There's a purpose
yes,
and a mission to
yes,
being there if we have the eyes to see it.
yes. That's the key. If we are looking at it from a new position, a position that I'm okay,
Mm-hmm,
I haven't done anything wrong.
mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm,
you know, my mistakes make me better.
mm-hmm,
My momentary pause is for my good.
mm-hmm.
I need to realize this because if I don't, if I look at it as woe is me, if I start my pity party in the pit, then I'm going to stay there for a while. And that's what tends to happen is that we start feeling pitiful and pity and having pity for ourselves. And then the next thing you know, now we've got this negative thinking going.
Yeah,
And now we have to get off that ride and we have to get back to where we were before.
yeah.
And the thing that, being in the dark, the thing about being in the dark is that it keeps you safe, keeps you hidden, and keeps you quiet for a while. But here's the thing I'm going to leave you with about being in the dark. You're never in the dark very long because the light is really already in you.
Mm, bingo.
And when you realize that the light's in you, then you can come out stronger and better.
Nice,
Yes,
nice.
because we fall into the pits most of the time because we're looking to see how everyone else is doing it, how I can get my success the next level out here instead of in here. And my job is to be a light shiner, first for me
Mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm.
for we. And I can't do that if I'm busy looking at how everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
And when I figure that out, that's usually when I come out of my pits.
Nice, nice. Like I said, James, at the beginning of this, there's just no way 30 minutes is ever going to be able to satisfy this conversation. But that's good because it means I get to bring it back again. And I
Woo-hoo!
like the fact that we're going to get into some pit dwelling stuff because a lot of people are pit dwellers, don't know it, and they're spending a whole lot of time decorating the pit. All right.
Yes,
When
yes.
it's only a place to stop and reflect.
For a moment, for a time. Yes, it's you're not supposed to live there. And
That's right. You need to stop decorating the pit.
oh, don't put a mailbox in the pit and talk about this is my new address. It's not where you're supposed to stay. You're supposed to rest for a moment, then move on. Yes.
Well, we definitely have to talk about that because I think it might, this is going to be a good show because this is where the darkness comes in. People think this is it. They don't understand what they can be doing in there at that point in time. And I love your NASCAR metaphor where you're there to get a retrofit, maybe some, change the oil or whatever you do in the pit and with NASCAR. But there's a purpose. It's not just, you're not out of the race. You're out
Right.
momentarily to get some stuff done.
Exactly. And you've got to know that. And once you know that, then you can go back out and do your laps again. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right. Oh man, James, like I said, having you around and having these conversations sparks me. I mean, that's right, people. It's all about me. So it sparks me. But anybody watching this will be sparked by this. I'm just the messenger to bring it out to the rest of the world who cares to watch. But thank you so much, James. So, James, how can we continue to follow you after we finish watching this podcast?
So you can find me on Facebook. My is James R. Cooper. You can search me for there. I'm always out there posting information, inspiration, and things to excite you. You can find me. You can find From Crackers to Caviar, my book, Guide to Personal Development. That's on Amazon. Just search for James R. Cooper,
Okay.
and you'll find me there. And look for me as we're moving forward. I have jamesrcooper.com. That's coming up. That's my website. We're putting some new information and content out there. Stay tuned. We're looking forward to reaching you and touching you with more information. So find me on social media. You can find me on Twitter at Crackers2Caviar, the number 2 Caviar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to meeting you and sharing with you. Thank you. It's been my honor. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
And to the listening audience, I'm really excited about some of his upcoming plans. And he's such a powerful leader for leaders. Now, I don't want to exclude non-leaders, but I place myself in the role of leadership, and he's a really good light and energy to follow for someone like me who needs to be filled up. when
Yes.
I find myself in the darkness. So thank you so much for being that person out there for people much like myself. And we will be bringing James back again with some pit dwelling information. So he will help us move out from there in a royal and regal fashion to the next
Yes.
level. And I will be putting this up there. So thank you again, listening audience, for returning back here on Mojo Talk Radio and mixing things up with us. We're bringing it big. We're bringing it loud. And we're going to keep spiraling up that energy from Most High. Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.